While converting all of our assets and animation to HTML5 Canvas was pretty simple, we need to convert any of the ActionScript we had previously written to JavaScript for it to work within the native web browser. Thankfully, the two languages are very similar when dealing with the timeline, as we have done here. So anything we're going to change is obviously inside of the Actions layer. Let's go ahead and open up the Actions panel so we can start this process. Here we can see that indeed everything has been commented out. And I'm just going to make this window fairly large as we go through this. The first thing we want to do is change this destination variable to a global variable. So I'm just going to cut that out. So using Control or Command X, notice when you're dealing with HTML5 Canvas, you have this additional global attribute up here in the corner. Let's twirl that down and enter into the script area, because this is where we can define global variables that are accessible across the timeline. I'm going to paste our destination variable declaration in there. And really, we don't have to change it because var is the same inside of ActionScript as it is in JavaScript. So it all just kind of works. Let's go back to look at some of these others. So frame 54, we have stop. We need to convert this to say this dot stop and remove any of the comments. So stop is exactly the same. However, with JavaScript, we have to be more specific as to the scope. So we say this dot stop. Let's go through and find those frames where we previously had stop actions and just paste in this dot stop in place. This is for our little toggle button here, as you can see, but that's the exact same thing. It needs to be this dot stop. Similarly, when we say go to and play, we also have to use this. So this go to and play destination. Destination being defined as a global variable in our script area here allows us to reference that with ease. So let's just go to the various places where we previously had go to and play. And we just convert that to this dot go to and play. Not too bad. Now let's get our toggle out of the way. We've already got this dot stop. However, this ActionScript needs to go. I'm going to paste in a bit of JavaScript here, which is going to do the exact same thing, but using JavaScript. So here I'm defining a local variable, underscore this, and setting it equal to this. And we don't really need this underscore stop here, but we can get rid of that other one just in case. There's no reason to use one over the other. And then we declare this on click, so on a mouse click, we invoke a function. And this function is simply nested or contained within our click handler here. We're doing the exact same thing. We're saying if this current frame is equal to 0. And if you remember, inside of the ActionScript version, we were checking for frames 1 and frame 6. Inside of JavaScript and HTML5 Canvas, the frame numbering actually starts with 0. So frame 1 becomes 0, and frame 6 becomes 5. We're checking against either of those and just doing the same exact thing if those return true. This play. With that out of the way, the only thing we need to modify now is the stuff in frame 1 for our actual navigation. So here's all our ActionScript commented out. I'm going to put a little room up here. And what we'll do is take care of some of this using the new Actions wizard. So clicking the Add Using Wizard button is going to open the Actions wizard for us. You can see it looks exactly like the Actions panel, except the code editor turns into this UI. You get a little preview of your code up here, and you can select from a number of different actions. What we're going to be looking for is a click action. So we want to look for something like go to frame label and play. And look at that. It's smart enough that it brings up all our different navigation buttons. These are the instance names that we gave them previously. But we don't need to select any of those right now. We need to say what we want to have as a frame label and play. And we want that to happen on this timeline. So click this timeline, and then it prompts us to enter a frame label. That's fine. We can leave it blank right now if we want to, but I'm going to put in N1, and we can modify other instances later on. Oops, that's not N1. That is L1 for label 1. Okay, let's hit next. And then we have a triggering event. We want to trigger this on a mouse click. And there's our instances again for our navigation. We want to go to L1 when N1 is clicked. So choose N1, hit finish and add. Now we're going to have to go way down to the bottom here. And you can see, just like with the code snippets we saw before, we've got a bunch of comments here. Let's remove those because I can explain this no problem. So what's happening here is we're defining underscore this, setting it equal to this. And then we're saying N1 on click, we want to go to and play L1. However, that's not exactly what we want to do. We want to set destination equal to L1 and then play. So let's cut that with Control or Command X, and we'll actually remove all of the ActionScript code that's been commented out so we can focus on the JavaScript. And instead of this underscore go to and play L1, let's paste that in with Command or Control V. And here we can say underscore this dot play. And we can remove that little bit there. So it's basically doing the same thing our ActionScript was doing. Destination is set to L1, this dot play. We'll copy this and paste it 3 more times, and then just change once again the different numbers. So N2 is going to go to L2, N3 is going to go to L3, and N4 is going to go to L4. Perfect. All right, that should be it for all of our code conversion. It's code in a lot of different places, but as you see, it's pretty simple to convert timeline code from ActionScript to JavaScript. Now, if we go in our HTML5 Canvas document settings to our publish settings, there's one more thing I want to do, and that's just to center this stage. We're going to center it to both the horizontal and vertical center of the viewport, and click OK. Let's go ahead and test this to make sure that everything's all right. All right, so as you can see, our application is centered, and as I go through and click on these various navigation elements, we get the same navigation experience as we did with ActionScript, but this time, if we go and inspect, we can see that this is definitely HTML5 Canvas using JavaScript. Publishing to the native web makes it super easy to distribute your prototyping and motion ideas to the rest of your team, to reviewers, or directly with your client.